Look down through the canyons of a modern metropolis. You are surrounded by glass, steel, and a pulsing web of multi-layered highway overpasses. Sitting at the base of these megastructures is a small, traditional wooden shrine. This modern skyline is engineered for technological supremacy, yet it continues to provide space for an ancient, nature-worshipping tradition. It is the result of a civilization transitioning from isolated forest dwellers to cyberpunk engineers without losing their original cultural identity. To understand the 2026 skyline, we have to trace a 9,000-year cycle of adaptation and destruction, a history where each era of construction functions as a new layer of survival. Return to the prehistoric Kanto Plain. Long before the concrete was poured, the earliest inhabitants lived in broadleaf forests, their existence bound to the rhythms of the rivers and the turning of the seasons. By 7000 BC, Jomon hunter-gatherers established these pit dwellings. They dug directly into the soil for flat earthen floors and built heavy grass roofs to capture intense seasonal rains. When wet rice farming arrived centuries later, the landscape was cleared and flooded. To keep the new crop dry and safe from pests, earthbound pits were replaced by yayoi granaries elevated on timber stilts. As regional chieftains consolidated power, they began manipulating the topography itself. To memorialize their leaders, laborers carved colossal keyhole-shaped burial mounds, known as kofun, directly into the earth. To protect monumental Buddhist temples from seismic activity, builders developed kigumi, wood joinery where complex cuts allow massive timbers to interlock with iron nails. During an earthquake, the friction between these pieces absorbs shockwaves. The framework physically flexes, surviving forces that would snap rigid structures. These early monuments were engineered to bend with the environment rather than stand against it. By the late 12th century, authority shifted from the refined aristocratic courts of Kyoto to the military regime of the samurai. The open, delicate mansions of the elite were replaced by shoinzakuri residences, functionally strict buildings designed to enforce a social hierarchy, with formal reception rooms and specific seating arrangements. This militarization reached peak with the samurai castles. These fortresses sit on foundations of immense dry stone boulders and feature defensive moats and hidden shooting ports. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, the nation entered a period of isolation. Urban centers grew into dense grids of wooden townhouses belonging to merchants and artisans. This wooden metropolis was highly vulnerable. Catastrophic fires reduced entire districts to ash, but the city was instantly rebuilt, making destruction a cyclical reality. Architectural power meant stone fortresses for the elite, while the rest of the population treated the built environment as a temporary, renewable resource. In 1868, the nation was forced to open its borders to foreign powers, triggering a sudden cultural collision. To avoid colonization, the state began a campaign of industrialization. Ancient wooden districts were cleared for Western masonry, wide paved avenues, iron railway tracks, and telegraph wires. Local carpenters combined traditional techniques with imported engineering, propelling the empire toward the standards of Euro-American industrial powers. This rapid expansion ended in total destruction. During the 1940s, aerial firebombing campaigns incinerated the remaining wooden districts and collapsed the modern masonry. The drive for global technological parity resulted in the erasure of decades of infrastructure, stripping the landscape back to bare earth for a radical reset. From those ruins, the country began a reconstruction of incredible speed. Within 20 years, high-speed bullet trains were connecting a brand new urban landscape. Visionary architects like Kenzo Tange led the metabolist movement. They aimed to fuse modern industrial materials with the organic philosophies found in ancient Japan. You can see this synthesis in the Yoyogi National Gymnasium. Massive concrete pillars and suspension cables create a sweeping roofline, echoing ancient temple curves. These philosophies evolved into the high-density megastructures that define the current metropolis. Behind the grid of glass and steel, the silhouette of Mount Fuji remains, the single constant anchor against millennia of human variables. The cyber metropolis is the latest version of a technological shell, engineered to preserve an ancient identity within a hyper-dense modern world.